Amen Ptah. Very powerful, brother. Get ready for some words of wisdom, inspiration, motivation, dedication.
Born and raised in a war zone. And I ask this question: am I living to die? The Walking Dead, crack fiends, selling their souls for small white pebbles, while the dope boys justify their means for survival. And children are placing more value in a pair of Jordans than their education. Money sustaining the white power superiority complex. And racism is about nothing but power and control. Concentrated poverty sustaining the curse casted upon our brothers and sisters, which feeds the systemic economic crime wave of black on black violence. The school to prison pipeline, racial profiling, among many other things. How do I fit into this picture? Well, I had an awakening. I was once a product of the environment that I'm describing, and I still am. But my environment is becoming a product of me. I was not always the scholar that our community knows me to be. I was actually one of the walking dead that society cast away or writes off. I remember living in a house full of roaches and mice, going to school almost every day with the same clothes on, witnessing and experiencing physical and psychological abuse, just literally soaking in trauma for a significant portion of my life. I sometimes relive my skull being pounded into the ground as a child, or my first experience with a woman being painful because of my mother's prescribed method of discipline. The vicious beatings I encountered made me angry. And because I couldn't fight my mother back, I chose to fight my siblings or the world outside of my home environment. And TV didn't help, because I started desiring to become the gangster depictions like Al Pacino in Scarface, Lawrence Tay as Old Dog in Menace, and Tupac as Bishop in Juice. I was being trained to be a walking zombie with the destination of either a prison cell or a cemetery. I caught my first felony at the age of 14, and the crime wave followed shortly thereafter. I robbed corner stores, fast food restaurants, drug dealers, and sold enough cocaine and weed in my lifetime that would have this whole entire city high for at least a year straight. By the time I turned 26, I racked up 4 felonies, 4 gunshot wounds, 2 prison bids, and 2 near-death experiences. Although I dropped out of high school, I did earn my GED, thanks to my love for reading and the inquisitive nature I religiously nurtured. So although I terrorized my community and sold a lot of drugs, I always kept a book in my hand, and I always wrote. My love and passion for hip-hop, and me being a young 5%er, wanting to be the smartest person in a cipher, would actually manifest later in my life as a hidden savior. I did not know back then, when I was committing those heinous acts, that the information I was feeding my brain would actually wake up a walking zombie. The epiphany hit me the year I was shot up on my birthday. That's right, I got shot up on my birthday. However, a month later, I gained custody of my only child. Several months after those 2 life-changing experiences, I started my first semester at MCC. And I can admit that I initially lacked the confidence. But when I made the dean's list while experiencing homelessness with my child, that is when it struck me that I had what it takes to be a scholar. All of that reading and writing paid off, because now I was sweeping through college with a strong GPA. Today I stand in front of you with 2 bachelor degrees, one in psychology, the other in communications, with the intent to earn a PhD in psychology and the desire to help our community in a much greater capacity at the policy table. I am also a small business owner, a director for a youth program, and a crisis counselor. Not to mention the things that I talked about with my mom. We buried that. Our relationship is a lot more healthier today. So today, I can say in confidence that I truly had an awakening. All of that reading, in partnership with my life experiences, has taught me that I was a mere pawn in a numbers game designed by social engineers who feared the black intelligent mind as a threat to their power structure. Why else would they spend so much money, time, and resources to make sure blacks remain at the bottom in this country? What we are witnessing and experiencing is deliberate trap laws set up for keeping black folks from getting ahead. But guess what? We are armed with the most viable natural resource on this planet. And what is that? That is our minds. Your brain has the potential to be your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. But the question is this: what is it going to take to wake it up? We see what's happening, not only in our community, but across the nation. 9 people murdered. 9 people murdered, including 6 mothers. Y'all hear me? 6 mothers and a senator in Charleston, South Carolina. Freddie Gray's neck is severed because he was looking at the police in Baltimore. Eric Garner choked to death over some cigarettes. Just recently, a sister named Sandra Blonde was stopped for the routine stop. What is it? What she got pulled over for? Illegal lane change. It was an illegal lane change. And what turned into a routine traffic stop transformed to her doing 3 days in jail and her dying in police custody. And they said she committed suicide by hanging herself with a plastic bag. Come on. The police killed that woman. Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Walter Scott, and many others who died in the hands of a lynch mob, wearing badges and carrying pistols. But what about the countless murders we invoke on ourselves? Yes, there is a systemic social cancer called racism plaguing our community. And yes, socioeconomic oppression do impact black on black violence. However, the only people that's going to save us is ourselves. Do not think for once that the powers that be have the intent to equalize or evenly distribute the wealth they have a menacing grip on. We, as a people, need to centralize our resources to become powerhouses we have the potential to be. The first thing we must do is establish trust. That's the first thing we must do. There is definitely strength in numbers, but as long as we remain numbers in a system designed to keep us literally at the bottom, we will remain nothing but dollar signs and objects to those who are in power. United we stand, divided we fall. The funding for the liberation of our people resides in the responsibility of the people, not the system. DHS, Section 8, HUD housing, and several other government-funded programs are not there to create home ownership. or develop entrepreneurs. They are there to sustain poverty. Banks are not in our community to pull us out of debt. They are there to generate deep holes for us to climb out of. The key to liberation is that organ that sits in between your ears, and it is housed inside of our heads. It is time we put our brains together to critically think our way out of our current condition. Train the brain, tune the heart, and change the world. Let me say that again, because I don't think people heard that. Train the brain, tune the heart, and change the world. Repeat after me. One life, one life, one life, one love. Us together, we shall rise above.